You knew my second wife.
You know what?
It's hard to scare me.
What I watched that was actually scary. Have you ever heard of frogging?
Yep.
You know what that is?
I have heard about it.
What is frogging?
Frogging is when somebody is living in your house, like in your attic or crawl space or something.
The show we watched. We watched the movie
on
about
Hulu,
it.
there was a series about it. Yeah.
We didn't do a series. We watched a show.
We saw a show about frogging.
There's a series on Netflix.
Is it a series?
I haven't seen.
Oh, not Netflix. It's Hulu, and it's a series. Yeah, there's 10 episodes of 2 stories each. And the thing that gave me the willies most, and I'd seen this security camera footage before, it's the guy and his girlfriend living in that really nice loft in Chicago, and they're asleep on the couch. But and he stands at the top of the stairs there, and you can see like the thing gets the silence. Like that's what makes him go back.
Yeah,
is he sees people moving, like them waking up. Mm-hmm. And he walks back into the bedroom, and then she comes up the stairs. Literally seconds later, she's going up the stairs right behind him. And he went right back out there, quietly managed to get back out there, get over the balcony, and get back out again before she made it upstairs. Like creepy. She almost walked in on him.
And we're live
with Paranormal-Spirits. This is the place we come to get our booze on. We talk about the booze, the things that go bump in the night. And I get to do that with all my booze. I have the wonderful and talented Alyssa Black, my wife.
Hello.
My best friend sidekick, John Burkett.
Lovely and talented.
Lovely and talented John Burkett. Oh, my.
Oh, my.
Well, my. Tonight we have a story about a town in Texas called Mineral Wells. And it was named that after the spring waters that flew from there that were high in lithium.
Flew? They flew from there?
Flowed.
What'd I say?
Flew.
Oh, I meant flowed. That flowed from those springs. God bless.
They sprout wings.
Let me have another shot of that Scotch. No, the waters flowed from there, and they were high in lithium. And there was a Mr. Baker that moved there and created a hotel. Many years later, this hotel became haunted. So, but before we do that and we talk about that kind of stuff, let's talk about all the places you can come to see us or find us on the web. And if you're listening to us on a podcast, you can go to YouTube and catch us at 3B Paranormal-Spirits. If you go to Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter, or now it's X, as John put it.
Well, it is.
I know. I saw it.
Put it that way.
I mean, you did this thing the other night, like X, right? So you can go to Instagram, TikTok, or X, and you can catch us there. And we're at paranormal _dash, and the dash is spelled out DASH _spirits, and it's the same for all three. We also have a website that's paranormal-spirits.com, and you can go there. You can read our liquor reviews. You can see about our videos. I mean, it's kind of a landing page for everything. Plus, we have this really cool swag store where we have like racerback tees that John and I are going to be wearing for an upcoming episode because we finally made it to 100 subscribers on YouTube. There's
it will be the scariest episode.
There's little bitty there's bios, absolutely the scariest episode. There's bios on there about us, but we have, like I say, the swag store there, and you can come get all of our cool swag that we have and help support the channel. And this show is about spirits.
Of all kinds.
Of all kinds. So, in honor of that, before every show, as we record, we have some spirits. And tonight, this is a very special night for us because we have two different spirits. We have our featured blended Scotch, and we have our favorite single malt Scotch. Yeah. Okay. So, John, tell us about our new blended
this is
Scotch.
For Peat's sake, which is a pretty heavily peated. I think we've tasted this before, but
This is not the first bottle.
blended Scotch. This is made by Angus Dundee. Distillers are bottled by them. I think they're getting the cask from somewhere else because it's a blend of unpeated and peated mixed together. Non-age statement. Inexpensive, like
$21.95 a bottle.
yeah, really inexpensive.
Is the price point?
Actually. Like you can't get that's like Johnny Walker. That's even less expensive.
I'm gonna tell you,
Which is
it is shocking to me the price on this Peat sake.
The problem is it is very difficult to find.
It's hard to find now.
It is a specialty blend for a local liquor store.
Is it local?
It's
Nah,
not. It's.
I thought that was a chain.
National.
it's national.
Yeah, it's
I thought
Total
it was,
Wine.
I thought it was local too, but I looked up on Angus Dundee's website and
Yeah, Total Wine is the place where we bought it, and
Yeah.
it's exclusive to Total Wine. I know that.
but it doesn't say that on Angus Dundee's website.
They made it sound like it was.
Yeah, they.
You can get it from Caskers. You can get it from.
Oh, okay. So Total Wine was saying when we got it there, they were like, "This is exclusively ours." Blah blah blah.
I mean, it might be in this area.
Oh, okay. So the but like it's a blended Scotch, so it's coming from different barrels. And what else, John? Price point is unbeatable.
Really cheap.
And it,
I mean, it's dead.
and
I mean,
it's really, really good, I think.
Yeah, you can get it from Drizzly. You can get it from
Okay.
Whiskey.
So,
Yeah.
tell us about the other Scotch that we have.
We don't have the bottle up here, but it's Lagavulin 16. It's 16-year-old Lagavulin single malt, Isla single malt,
Which
Scotch
we've
whiskey,
done before
Yeah,
on the show.
which is
Yes.
the gold standard
for Scotch.
for Isla single for peated single malt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and what we were talking about earlier, John and I were, that it would be interesting to do a comparison side by side with a $22 for
Basically, you could buy six bottles of this,
Five and a half
five and a
bottles of
half
that.
bottles of this for what one bottle of Lagavulin costs.
Right. So I want to see the difference because, when you drink it and then, a couple of weeks later you try something different, it's like, oh, that tastes like so-and-so. Or, that compares to such and such. When in reality, if you have them side by side, you can really taste the difference.
Like last week or week before
I don't know. What was last week or week before?
No, it was the week before. The
Scarabus.
Scarabus, to me, tasted just like
Lefroy.
Lefroy.
But we haven't done a side by side with that either.
Yeah.
So here we go. Let's try this. This is the Lagavulin. And we can forego all what we think about it. We've already done that. Cilantro?
Sancha.
Cilantro. Band-Aids.
God's chosen elixir.
So, what'd you call it? A Scottish hug?
Oh, that is so freaking good.
Yep. It's complex and it's thick. And it's
Yeah, I didn't. I just
Leggy.
set mine
Yeah.
down.
Hello.
Whoa.
Well,
Well, as I nurse mine, we would like to try the side-by-side.
and I wanted to do the side by side. So this is the Peat sake as it makes its way around the table.
You can smell how much sweeter this one is.
Okay, to me, I don't know if the
I don't smell
Lagavulin just
anything.
blew
I
everything
think
out.
I
but
think that may be the case because I don't smell anything.
Yeah, I don't smell anything with this now.
Stick your nose right in there. It smells a little butterscotchy.
No, I mean, but
I can still smell that one.
and that's what I mean. When we got this, we thought, oh, smell that. That's really nice, and then
But
you
in a
taste it and it looks really
side-by-side.
nice. But now sitting next to Lagavulin, you go, oh no, this is like water compared to the Lagavulin, I think.
Again,
But this is $20 a
a
bottle.
case of this
Right.
costs what one bottle of this costs.
Right, exactly. So, Pete's sake, cilantro.
Cilantro.
Boy, yeah, you can tell the difference when you tastes like water.
I don't know what kind of water you drink. It's not quite water, but
I wouldn't say it's water, but
I mean, compared to that, yeah.
Compared to the Lagavulin, there is no comparison. Now, I know when I drank this without drinking Lagavulin prior, I find it very tasty. It has a nice...
Should have gone the other way.
Yeah, probably. It has a nice smokiness to it. I will say that the mouthfeel for me is extremely watery. There's not a lot of oils in that like there is the
there's not a lot of legs either. But that's to be expected for this price point. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
and
there's no legs in
this. 16 years old.
Yeah, the Lagavulin. And this is not.
So it's really not fair,
5
I suppose.
to 10, you know.
You think?
Whatever's in the blend, yeah.
But what we decided when we partook by itself.
It's young. I mean, it tastes young.
That is a good peated Scotch on a beer budget.
It is. That's a decent peated Scotch on a beer budget.
If you don't know if you're going to be able to handle peat or...
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a good way to get into it rather than going out and...
We went straight into Lagavulin and had to really adapt.
Well, that was me because I told y'all, don't waste your time with that. Go straight to the...
No, but I think it was a good thing in the way that we did it because I feel like at first we're like, hello, Band-Aids, like as mermaid's bathwater.
It's a little iodine-y.
It is.
A little bit, but...
But once you get used to it, we had to keep going at it. Whereas if you don't have the ability to do that at first, this is a really good intro.
If you want to figure out if you like Scotch or not, I think that's a good place to start.
Or peat. Like
peated Scotch.
Peated Scotch.
Okay.
The difference between this and a space side is night and day.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but a peated Scotch, I think this is a really good intro. Truly. Because it is an acquired flavor.
This has some sherry cask influence in it. I don't know if this does. I mean... It might, yeah. There's a little bit of that.
I think there's a little sherry in it.
There's a little of that dried fruit or whatever. I can tell you what they say.
They say
being...
This is what Angus Dundee Distillers, who produces. Actually, they're probably not producing this.
They bottle it.
They have some single malts of their own. None of them are peated. They're all Highlander Space Sides. So I don't know where they're getting the peated ones from. But your nose is rich with peat and earthy smoke coming forward. Aromas of charred oak, vanilla, oat biscuits, toffee, and sultanas. I don't know what a sultana is, but I think it's like a raisin or a date or something.
Isn't that a cracker?
I don't know.
Or is that a
saltine? That's
saltine. White, pale green, oval, seedless grape.
Oh, that's exactly what I thought it was.
Dried up, though, right? And it's like a raisin. I don't know.
Yes. Yep.
I've seen that word before when describing the flavor and stuff.
Sultanas are referred to as golden raisins in the U.S.
Oh, white raisins.
Okay.
Okay. Love those. Okay. Our words are better than...
All right. Well, I don't want to belabor the BOOZE, but...
Oh, yeah. I won't want to upset Mary.
But I do want to say that if you just want to try a Scotch, a peated Scotch at that one that's got a little bit of that smoke to it, and you want to see if maybe it might be something you want to learn about, this is a great Scotch to do it with because it's not going to kill your wallet.
Yeah, it's half of an Ardbeg 5 Wee Beast to eat. You know, it's
price-wise. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good way to roll if you just want to try it out. Try it on for size. So, let's talk about the BOOS. Tell us about the Baker.
Okay. Well, I like to start these out with a history lesson on them because a lot of them are old. Like that's kind of the thing. Kind of the thing with hauntings is that it's been around a while and had a lot of things happen.
There might be some new haunted hotels.
Maybe, but it's probably because something underneath it has caused it to be that way.
Something in the dirt.
Yes. I mean, or underneath, like, burial grounds or what have you. So I have a little bit of some history for this here hotel. First, I did the history of mineral wells, as you said earlier about the healing waters. So it was named in 1881 after the healing water that was said to come from the first well that was dug when the Lynch family arrived. Because the closest water source at the time was 4 miles away with the Brazos River. So they had a drilling company. There was a man that they knew that had a drilling company and had them drill. They were a little trepidatious to drink it at first, and they just gave it to the livestock, and they didn't die. So they decided that it might be okay to drink. The Lynch family, the wife and the husband, both suffered from rheumatism. And they stated,
arthritis, isn't it?
Yes, and they say it's technically an autoimmune type of arthritis. They reported feeling better after drinking this water. So the news spread and popularity of the town grew from here. Many wells were drilled, but the most famous was the Crazy Well that was said to have cured an elderly lady of her mental illness when she drank from this well twice a day. Most of the wells and mineral wells were found to contain significant amounts of lithium, which is a long-used treatment for mental health disorders, namely bipolar. Still used to this day. You have to have blood tests and things like that to make sure you're not toxic.
Lithium salts. Right?
Yes, because it is a toxic thing. That's why they figure it helped with mental illness. The railway trains came to mineral wells in 1891. So the town grew from there. In 1926, T.B. Baker starts construction on the Baker Hotel. It cost him $1.2 million. Designed by the same architect that designed the state capitol in Austin, it's done in a Spanish colonial revival style. 232,000 square feet.
Good Lord.
That's bigger than a Walmart Supercenter, isn't it?
14 floors.
That's a big one.
460 rooms. Only 2 suites. One of them being the Baker Suite.
Was this in 1926?
Yes, it opened in 1929.
29. God, what was the population and how in mineral wells?
Well, people were coming for the water.
I guess. And staying
It's a spa
in this
hotel.
400, how many rooms?
460.
460 room hotel.
It was only about 6,000 residents in 1929.
Wow. But they have a hotel there that houses 400.
Yeah, but what was really cool,
400, almost 500.
and I'll get to that in a bit about exactly how it worked, but it was fully air conditioned by the 1940s.
Wow.
Which was totally a new thing. So people came because, this is West Texas. It's hot as hell.
Right.
So 14 floors, 460 rooms, 2 suites, 2 spas, outdoor Olympic-sized pool, and the Cloud Room, which is the top floor. That is an amazing type ballroom almost, with windows all the way around and a balcony on the outside that goes all the way around. So that said you could see the rolling landscape from it. So they called it the Cloud Room because it was in the clouds.
There ain't much to look at.
You're right. It's quite flat.
Just flat yellow dirt.
It was the tallest building in the region at the time.
Wow.
They generated their own electricity, and they had their own water wells, making them a sort of off-grid location before that was an actual thing.
Wow.
They didn't, cool. So they didn't need any assistance from that. The entire second floor of the hotel was once dedicated as a bath and massage floor where guests could take mineral baths, use steam rooms, and get spa treatments like salt rubs, hot packs, facials, and more. Spa treatments at this hotel were sometimes prescribed by doctors and were believed to cure everything from rheumatism to eczema, according to a Baker Hotel historical pamphlet. The Baker had an energy management system back in 1929. When a guest left their room and locked their door, the power was turned off inside the room, thanks to a switch mechanism in the door jamb.
I don't like that. When I come back to the hotel, I want it to be cold in the summer. I don't want to have to wait for it to cool off again.
I could see that. In the solarium, guests could partake in trendy spa treatments such as ultraviolet light therapy, colonic irrigation, and strangely being scientifically toasted, which is with steam while they were zipped to the chin inside a special cabinet.
What?
So
they were zipped up in a cabinet and their whole body was
with steam.
Oh, okay.
But they called it scientifically toasted.
Yeah. That's a stupid name for it, but
it's like a spa.
Just taking a steam bath.
Yeah, it's like a spa in your own personal cabinet.
Having a schwitz.
Yeah. So the whole AC system was a system of pipes that circulated ice water to the guests' rooms. So it was a welcome luxury.
So like
in Texas heat.
the old hot water heating systems in the old hotels where they would pump hot water through the what do you call it? The radiator.
The Romans had that too.
Yeah, the radiator. You would pump the hot water through there. The steam.
The radiator, yeah.
Yeah.
But they did not have that in Rome. They had floors they somehow would heat the floors in Roman villas and stuff in ancient.
I thought it was kind of cool about the whole power being turned off. I thought that was kind of neat for the time.
That would irritate the piss out of me if I come back and I'm like, why is it so hot in my hotel room, my air-conditioned hotel room?
Well, yeah, but that was before air conditioning was actually a thing anywhere else. So for them, they didn't care. That wasn't a thing.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
People were a lot tougher back then. Like
They sure
I can remember
were.
being
We
a
would
kid, and AC was still a luxury item to have in your car. When I was a kid,
Well, yeah, you're pretty old.
I'm older than you by a little bit.
I
Not
don't
much.
remember having a
Yeah, but you even
car
said
that
in what
didn't
night the
have that.
93 Escort you had didn't come with AC. That's in the 90s.
I bought a 92 Escort off the lot, brand new, and had no AC in it.
I remember
Why?
the
Had
90s.
no AC in it.
No AC.
It
No
wasn't
AC,
standard.
That was an
deal.
add-on.
Yeah, but I had a 92 GMC Sierra that had all of that stuff in it.
That had an add-on.
No.
That-
The air conditioning?
When it was bought brand new, did you buy it brand new?
Yes, but
Okay.
brand new at Hall.
Did they have AC? It
Yes.
just automatically came with it.
Yeah, it was factory AC. You know what it didn't have? It didn't have power windows. That was about the only thing it
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
have.
Yeah, see that.
It had crank windows. But,
See,
it had
but
air
a lot
conditioning.
of
from the factory.
vehicles though, even back then, AC was an add-on. You had to add that onto the bill.
Right. I remember in the 70s that, but mine, yeah.
My parents had an 89 that had air, and their 92 that I first drove had air standard. Maybe it was just your Escort.
My
Regardless,
my
but
first
regardless,
car,
it
my,
was an option.
my 75 Buick Regal had factory air in it.
But we're digressing. We're pulling you off your story. I'm
Sorry.
I apologize.
The hotel opens.
He's just aging himself.
So these are all the things that were in the hotel. It opened in 1929, 2 weeks following the great stock market crash.
Oops.
Can you imagine owning a hotel?
Have spent 3 years building it.
Yeah, and I just spent $2 million or whatever, 2.something.
1.2.
That's like having
$1.2
your
million dollars, and right after, what was it? 2 weeks after you said? Is that right?
3 years. 2 weeks after the.
2 weeks after I opened, the stock market crashed.
That's like having you opening up your Grand Hotel and Casino or whatever in March or February of 2020,
right.
just in time for the world to
So
shut down.
$1 million in 1929 is now worth $17.4 million in today's money.
That wouldn't pay for that hotel now.
Actually, I'll get to that.
17 million.
I get to that in a minute. So, believe it or not, it actually was able, because of all of the things that it had that other places didn't. It stayed popular through the 30s and the 50s, had famous visitors such as President Ronald Reagan, Clark Gable, Judy Garland, which there is a very famous picture of her standing in the lobby of the location, Will Rogers, the Three Stooges, different political leaders, cattle barons.
Was
West
Shemp
Texas.
there? Was it Mo, Larry, Curly, or was it like Shemp
Apparently, is all of them.
with the Fourth Stooge?
Celebrities, I don't know all the details of the celebrities, those are the ones they named. And, of course, Bonnie and Clyde.
Of course, every friggin' hotel in Texas.
I was going to say,
Oh,
there's
Bonnie
not a
and Clyde's
hotel
up here.
in Texas that hasn't had
My
Bonnie and
God.
Clyde stay there, or a jail cell in Texas that Bonnie and Clyde hasn't
Why do
been
people
incarcerated
just
in.
so obsessed to romanticize these two killer
Because
criminals?
everybody knows about
Because they
them.
were in love,
And
and
bank
they
robbers.
were bank robbers, and they were adventurous.
According-
and it's a really cool story.
According to local lore, the famed bank robbers had the carpet removed from the hallway just outside their room so they could hear if law enforcement approached. I don't know how you would do that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm
that's
sure
what
that
the
was
local
true.
lore
This
says.
is interesting. So apparently the architect also, he based the design on the Arlington.
The what?
He based the
Waddington?
design for the Baker on the Arlington.
Huh.
So it's partly designed after that one because of the same with the springs and stuff.
And you can see it very
Yeah.
similar. Which, of course, when we have springs again, like the Crescent, where Eureka Springs. So, in the 1940s, discoveries such as penicillin made health resorts, like what this was advertising less sought after because they realized, oh, well, you don't have to go do all of these scientifically toastedness.
You could just get a shot of penicillin.
You could just get some penicillin.
That won't fix crazy.
It doesn't fix crazy. You're right. However, so it started to steadily decline. Then you have World War II. In 1941 to 1944, it served as a military dependence quarters.
Really? I
Because
figured they'd make it a hospital or something.
For Walters, it's W-O-L, not A-L.
Walter.
Nearby, they trained over 25,000 infantrymen at the time. And there was also helicopters at one point were a big deal there, like a lot of helicopter training.
Yeah, I remember.
Things
are coming back to me about some of the locations.
So it did have that service part of it. It wasn't closed, but they did use some parts of, like, I think the first through the fourth floor for that. In 1952, T.B. Baker retired and leaves the hotel to his nephew Earl Baker, who runs it until he turns 70. In 1963, it closed its doors for the first time, only to be reopened in 1965 by some civic leaders, but they closed shortly afterwards when they were unable to make any money. In 1972, the doors closed permanently. So, it has not been used since 1972.
Oh.
Now, in 1999, two men by the names of Fairchild and Patton began efforts to renovate the hotel. And in 2019, a development team announced and began a 3-year, $65 million historical restoration to restore it to the Grand Old Lady of Mineral Wells.
Wow.
It was originally expected to reopen in 2024, and it's going to be going from the 460 original rooms, and we've talked about how small these rooms were back then.
Right. So there's going to be a reduction in the number of rooms for sure.
From 460 to 157.
That's about right.
So, but along with that, 20,000 square feet of it will be for ballrooms, events, and event space. A spa, restaurant, coffee shop, and retail shops. Mind you, this is 232,000 square feet.
Yeah,
So
it's a lot.
Yes, the opening date has now been pushed back to the spring of 2026. One little fun fact, during renovation, there's been some rumors about things that have been hidden. Like there was rumors like during the Vietnam War, some of the airmen hid their historical cars in the basement of the hotel. That was false. That did not happen. However, they did prove that Baker had a hidden cubby for booze during Prohibition. They found his hidden cubby, and they intend to make that a focal point wherever it's at in this to like cool. Make it a thing. So, ghost stories. Here we are. Who do you think haunts the Baker Hotel?
Mr. Baker, of course.
Mr. Baker.
Of course he does.
Why do you think Mr. Baker haunts the hotel?
Did he die there?
He sure did.
Yeah.
He's said to haunt the Baker suite on the 11th floor. He died in his suite, and now he walks the halls of the Grand Hotel forever.
Wasn't the doctor at the...
His last name was Baker as well. It's Norman
Baker. At the
Baker.
Crescent?
So you got Crescent
that
with
was
a doctor
Baker
named
as well.
Baker. You got this guy who did the Arlington, which is also haunted. Also designed this one based on it.
And the owner of this one's called Baker. And they're on the springs.
And they're all about springs.
A little funny. A little weird.
Coinky dink.
So, back when you could actually tour the hotel, currently you cannot go inside because of the renovations that are happening.
Right.
They do still do tours, but it's outside. But inside, when they used to do it, the tour guides would always knock on the doors of the suite before they entered, so they didn't piss him off.
Mr. Baker.
Because apparently he'd get mad. To the point that they reported that small items would go missing from their handbags and their pockets when they went into the suite. And then the guides would find these said items on the floor of the suite at the closing time, after the people had already left. Also, a big thing about this hotel and its hauntings is the smell. So, 11th floor smells like cigars. And he was a known cigar smoker. Like, frequent cigar smoker. So, they claim the entire 11th floor smells of cigar smoke, which was his habit. the second main haunt of the hotel? Any guesses?
Judy Garland.
Judy Garland.
No.
Well, she
no.
stayed there.
Right. Bonnie and Clyde.
No. Baker's mistress.
Oh, of course it was. So where's his wife?
Don't know where his wife is, but he kept the mistress on the 7th floor. Was known to keep the mistress on the suite in the 7th floor.
So the Baker Hotel, which was the Crescent, I guess, or Baker's Hospital,
Dr.
whatever.
Baker.
Dr. Baker in Eureka
Versus
Springs.
the Mr. Baker.
Doctor.
His mistress, he kept at there and had a secret room for her. Well, not a secret room, but there was a secret passageway from his room to her room, so that they could go back and forth and do whatever they did.
He was said to have had the mistress. They kept her on the 7th floor, and it's rumored that she jumped to her death from the window of her room on the 7th floor.
Again,
Somebody jumps from a window.
there is always a forlorn woman who jumps from a window.
Her suicide's technically
unalives
the
herself.
reasoning of the suicide of her jumping is actually unknown. It's speculated that it's because the affair became too much for her to handle. Whatever.
I'm sorry, did I just roll my eyes?
You did.
Did that show up on camera? I hope not.
A porter who worked at the hotel in the 50s and 60s was the first to report the sighting of said mistress. I don't know exactly when she died.
Porter's a bellhop, right? That's
Right. Mm-hmm. She was originally witnessed by the hotel staff in the 50s. She's said to have red hair and green eyes.
Oh, heartbreaker.
And
crazy as soul is ginger. So if they had no soul, how can she be haunting the place? Because
that's what...
Oh, you've just canceled us for every
no, it's a joke. I mean,
every red-haired woman that listens to us just canceled us.
There's
All
also...
three of them.
okay, Molly McGuire has canceled us.
Back when the
It was a
hotel,
joke.
like in the 50s and the 60s, a maid of the hotel would frequently find broken glass in a room on the 7th floor, and it would have red lipstick on the rim of the glass, and she was known to wear red lipstick.
And break glasses.
They say it's because she's angry, that
Yeah.
she's a very well-known angry spirit. High heels have also been heard walking around the 1st floor. I'm not sure why they think this is the mistress, but repeatedly when you see this story, they all attribute it to the mistress. Apparently she wore high heels all the time. I don't know.
Because she jumped out the window.
Maybe is that what it was?
Well, I mean,
Those are high heels.
Yeah.
She's also said to be flirtatious around men, and she would poke and touch male tourists that she fancied.
Really?
Yeah. And a smell goes along with her too. It is said on the 7th floor you can smell her lavender perfume when you go up there. Frequently reported. The manager of the building also reported to somebody there was a local firefighter that was talking about different stories of the hotel, reported that he was on the 7th floor resetting an electrical breaker for the Christmas lights, which continuously tripped every night during the display. As he was inspecting the fuse box one night, he was attempting to locate the breaker switch. He heard the footsteps of an unseen person walking up to his left very quietly, as if not to bother him. A bit startled, he turned to look and saw no one. The manager spoke to the possible ghosts and assured them that he meant no harm. After that night, their lights never tripped off again. So they don't know that it's the mistress per se, but he heard high heels. It was on the 7th floor, and the Christmas lights never went off again.
Interesting.
So, another very routinely there's very few but routine hauntings ghost scene. The bellhop, always a bellhop, and always an elevator accident.
oh shit!
In the 1950s, during an elevator
Oh, I
accident,
knew it.
I'm gonna stick my head up under this elevator and see how it works.
not a whole detail about it other than a bellhop was severed in half by the elevator.
There's some serious safety issues with elevators.
Yes.
So is this? So were you able to validate that, or
It repeatedly in multiple different reports and websites and stories
talks about the
bellhop, because people have reportedly seen his apparition, but only the top portion of his body.
Where's bottom half?
They've never seen his
it's
bottom
at
half.
the bottom of the elevator shaft?
And
They seem like the top half would be at the bottom of the elevator shaft. because you were crawling in to look at something and then it came down on you.
Maybe he was going in backwards.
Maybe he was.
Maybe
Maybe
Maybe he was
out.
backing it in.
No, maybe he was standing inside it, leaned out to say something to somebody, and boop, right? So his bottom half would be in the car, and then his other half's on the floor.
Yeah.
Freaking death traps, man. Use the stairs. Jeez.
14 floors?
People were very hardy back in those days.
Agreed. The description of his apparition matches the description of him in the historical reports.
Yeah.
They do say that. I guess they can't verify his legs, but they can verify his face.
Well, he had that interesting mole on his left knee. So if I could see that, I'd know it was him. But, I can't verify it otherwise.
There's also a young boy that's seen with his shaggy dog. In 1933, a young boy came to the hotel seeking treatment for leukemia from the mineral springs, and he passed away in the hotel. He is said to be accompanied by a shaggy dog. He is one of the few spirits that has reached out to mediums visiting the hotel asking for help. Mediums have reported that many of the spirits that linger at the Baker Hotel have chosen this area in death because of the great peace and relaxation they experienced while staying here in life. They didn't actually die there. And they don't want help. They just want to chill. That's what some of the mediums have said. But this little boy asks for help. There was one medium that reported to this man that I said was talking to people in town. She reported a large, shaggy dog always accompanied the child, and he also bounced a ball to get her attention. And he was watched by an unknown older woman who was always near him. So.
So the older woman was a ghost or a spirit.
Yes.
That watched him.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Like a surrogate grandmother or mother or something. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Apparently, the psychic also reported, the same psychic that saw the little boy said that the spirits don't necessarily look the age they were when they died. Some were employees of the building. One, she said, for reasons she doesn't understand, was a helicopter pilot who attended basic flight training at Fort Walters in the 1960s. He was killed in a helicopter crash while at Fort Rucker in Alabama, and he had returned to the Baker with his body in the same traumatic state that resulted from the crash. So she saw him there, but he came back because he had such a good time there. That's where he wanted to remain.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Another incident occurred during a tour of the hotel by a group of World War II veterans and their spouses. As the group entered the Brazos room on the first floor, which was the main dining room in the dance area, a couple suddenly stopped, and the woman looked at her husband and said, "Do you hear that?" And he said, "I certainly do." About that time, several other people in the group began to hear sounds of dishes and silverware clanking, as well as people talking with orchestra music in the background. Most of the people were there reported this event. It has never happened before nor since. But witnesses were sure they were expecting the ghostly. They were experiencing the ghostly echoes of the time before.
So this is multiple people that
were in a group that were World War II veterans that walked into the Brazos room and heard all of the same things.
God, that's like The Shining, you know?
Oh, were they? Yeah.
Where the
story.
Echoes of all the things that happened in the hotel were going on while they were there, you know, over that winter period, you know.
Yep.
Here's Johnny.
Which, to have a whole group of people hear the same thing.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's pretty. The other thing is the haunted windows. So, a local bank teller, there's a bank near the hotel that has a view of the hotel. And in the 1990s, they reported that the windows on multiple floors would be open in the beginning of the day. Then later, those windows would be closed and another set of windows would be open. And this woman and her coworkers would make notes of the times, but there was no pattern. And they thought that it was tour guides or management that was in there, but they found out that no one was at the hotel at the time the windows would be closed. So someone's airing out the hotel when no one's in there.
Trying to get that cigar smoke out of it.
I guess so. Lavender perfume.
Right.
So
those two do not go together.
I couldn't see that together, no.
Well, one's on the 7th floor, one's on the 11th floor. I guess it depends on what you're looking for. People have reportedly been poked, scratched, and bitten by certain things, but there was nothing really specific about it. There was just reports of that sometimes. Ghost Adventures has been there before. The big thing that happened I looked at theirs because it was something that was more recent than what's gone on, and they did it in 2012.
Was Zach affected?
Yes. He turned aggressive.
Did
when
he have a Zack
He
attack?
He had a Zack attack. He turned aggressive.
He turned aggressive when a shadow figure appears to disappear into him. He reports feeling a surge of energy and lunges at Nick.
At Nick. Well,
He was already pissed at Nick.
he was already mad at Nick before he had Nick canceled last year or year before that.
During the episode, doors were heard clicking, like they were shutting it, closing. One door opened on its own, footsteps were heard, and EVPs they heard was water, drink the water. Women's voices.
Drink the water. We're in mineral wells. Drink the water. I'm sure it was something like that.
It must be a demon.
It's got to be a demon.
Lost my kid was heard.
Oh my God.
And child screaming. And then a mist appears next to Nick at one point.
I've seen every episode. I've seen it, and I remember there's a couple of Mineral Wells episodes. But now I remember what the other place was, but it's been a long time. But I don't remember specific stuff. I remember one of the trips they went to the place for Crazy Water, which is sold retail. You can buy at the grocery stores here. It says Crazy Water, and you can pick your mineral level. I like the 4, which is the highest.
Yeah, okay.
Some people prefer the 1 or maybe the 2. There's 4, yeah. But anyway, Zach, I remember them testing, taking shots of the waters and stuff and taking them and joking around in the Crazy Water
How it made you feel.
tasting room. There's a tasting room.
Did he have to pull his respirator off to?
Well, he wasn't wearing that in the water tasting room.
Sorry.
That's reserved just for when they start ghost hunting because of the asthma that the demon gave him.
You mean when he actually goes out of Las Vegas and goes out to a side or something?
They do. They just the last few seasons they don't seem to have left the Nevada, California, Utah, Arizona area.
Okay.
They haven't made it to the East Coast. Maybe they had a secret deal with Taps that, hey, we'll do the East Coast, you're the West Coast.
Or vice versa.
No, Taps would be the East Coast.
Taps is East Coast.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I misunderstood then.
And,
Go ahead.
And you guys could have the West Coast, and then the middle, they're just screwed.
Well, you have a couple of people that work kind of the central part of the United States.
Well, and they read Riddle Rose recently. There are a couple other haunted locations, 3 actually in the town. There, for some reason, the place is
Very.
it's very active. The city is very active.
It is.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of like Eureka. Eureka's got quite
yeah.
a number of hauntings and stuff. In closing, the guy that's doing their renovation, his name is Rawlings. He's been asked numerous times during this renovation if this place is haunted because he's in there all the time, He said, the first rule about Ghost Club is you don't talk about Ghost Club. Although he accompanied a camera crew on a tour of the hotel for the Travel Channel's Ghost Adventures in 2012, he's skeptical. He says, I've never seen a ghost. If there's something in there, I think I'm getting a hall pass because we're putting tens of millions of dollars into their house and they're just happy to get it fixed up.
That's funny. It's a hall pass.
So
this,
I would like to go see it.
yeah, when it's open.
Yeah.
We've got time to plan.
Yeah, there's time to make. I think they already taken reservations for the grand opening on the.
Well, originally it was supposed to be in 2024, and they've postponed it to 2026. Now,
I bet it's already booked
I
up.
will say, when you were talking about the cost of it, so here was the issue. The reason why it's taken a while, $65 million to renovate it, it will only be worth $40 million by the time it's renovated.
Because it's in Mineral Well.
Because of its location.
If it was in Dallas, it'd be
Because
worth $200
of its,
million.
even though its size is what it is, where it's at, it's been in such disrepair for so long and been vacant for so long. It's taking a lot to renovate it. Plus, it's from 1929. So
We don't know what those bones are like under that.
No.
building,
So you have to think about whenever you're doing that type of project, the actual cost or the actual value, let's say, is $40 million for this particular place.
that's how much they could sell it for once they're
right.
done.
So the value, the
Right.
absolute value is $40 million. It's going to cost me $65 million to renovate it. So then you have to think about, in perpetuity, how much money can I make going forward
How long does it take me to get out of the red?
Right. For booking these hotel rooms, how long? How many events can I have?
Well, what they did was they couldn't get the banks to give them enough. They wouldn't loan them enough to do this. But this has been sitting here. I mean, it's a pariah. I mean, not really. I mean, it's large, and it's just become. Windows are broken. I mean,
pariah.
We've seen all these places.
Imagine if the Crescent
sad.
or the Arlington were in disrepair and closed down and not in use.
And it would be a pariah.
Well, and then there's so much that the tourism.
Word.
So what they did was they did a fundraiser, and they made $150,000 or something just from fundraising in the town. They did that, but they've looked at different tax rebates that they could get because there's different laws about historical buildings and foreign investors if they invest.
The Chinese now own mineral
Yes. Well, because if somebody I was reading about that there's some.
Now they're going to control our
my God.
Our crazy water.
There's a government.
Go get your tea hat. It's in yonder.
There's a government plan.
Full hat.
Stop. There's a government plan that if you are foreign and you put $500,000 into a historical building in America, you'll get a green card.
Yeah, but nobody looking for green cards has $500,000.
Something like that. So Chinese are the ones that are actually like doing this, but they're talking about how they don't know how long this will last. But
till the war starts.
Yeah, but these are the types of things that they have looked into.
Till they invade Taiwan.
These are the things they looked into to fund it, to try to. So obviously it's been underway. It's been slow process, but it's really cool the things they've done to like cut costs instead of doing. They've made like stationary bathrooms out of what's been there. So went ahead and remodeled a part of it so they didn't have to have porta potties on site.
Oh, that's what.
So they've remade some of the bathrooms so they can use it.
That's actually really nice for the construction workers. I don't know if you've ever been in one of those things, but they're hot, they're gross. This is one of the most disgusting things
they're horrible.
I've ever seen. That blue
you're
stuff.
going to have to do them anyway, so why not do them first? So then your staff can use them, and then you don't have to pay to have it, outside.
And somebody can come along and tip it over while you're in it, and then you're covered in the blue stuff.
Not to mention, it's West Texas mineral wells. You know how hot? It's been hot here. I can only imagine a porta potty there. Ugh, for 3 years? Look.
Yeah, they're gross.
6.
It's rough in a porta potty in the summer.
It ain't a picnic in the winter, but
no.
But before they shut it down for everybody to come look at, we'll have to put some pictures up because there's some really cool. You've seen some of those like mysteries of the abandoned and pictures of different hotels that are abandoned. There's pictures of the spa area, the ballroom, with the paint coming off.
Yeah,
you and I, that used to be kind of our thing, that we'd go to all these haunted hotels and older hotels for that reason, because the elegance and the opulence of some of these places, it's just like, oh my God. Because you walk into some place and it's just granite everywhere, and you're like, what would that cost today? And you think about they did it back then, and you walk in, it's just so magnificent, and ostentatious.
The detailings and the railings and everything.
We don't do that now. Our hotels don't look like that now.
The Ritz does.
Well, yeah, the
Motel Hotel does.
Right, but the new ones built typically do not look
the Best
like
Western, and there were the
Hotel Motel does.
But that was what they did back then. They took the time and the effort and the craftsmanship and the money, and they poured it into these places.
Like the motel, that's a thing of the 50s, the interstate highway system,
Yeah.
So it wasn't even around back then.
But to do this, I mean, I think that it was only the people with that kind of money that went to places like this.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. It wasn't something that a lot of people could do anyway. And if you were going to do it, then you had the money to do it, or it was a splurge. There's times where you go on trips and it's a splurge. So I want to be bougie for a little bit. Go be bougie and go get you a scientific toasting.
Well, there was money around there. This is this old patch out there anyway. So there was money back in the 20s and 30s.
What I thought was interesting is that there's
wealthy West Texans back then.
Yeah.
Well, like the Crescent talked about how it was like a hotel. I mean, it was a hotel, but it was a hospital for a long time with the healing waters. Whereas they did the same thing, but it didn't mention that these people that came to stay, like the little boy, they didn't stay there for a hotel purpose. I mean, for a hospital purpose, it was a hotel.
Well, that interestingly you mentioned that, because one of the other extreme paranormal hotspots in Mineral Wells is the now abandoned Nazareth Hospital and Sanatorium, which is a big hospital.
Did they use the healing
That's
waters?
closed down. No, but it's haunted as hell. That's the other place that Ghost Adventures has been in Mineral Wells. That's the one I was thinking of. It wasn't a hotel. It's that hospital and sanitarium. And it's a pretty freaky place. And there's also the hospital at Fort Walters, which is a closed down fort, which is a closed down military base, the Beach Army Hospital.
Which is what we
at Fort
talked
Walters,
about. Yep.
which is also an extreme. That one was a freaky. Zach and the gang, like they
So they just like
they got run
hit
out
up
of that
Mineral
place.
Wells, didn't they?
Yeah, and then there's Hill House. There's a Hill House in Mineral Wells.
So we could just do a whole
That is
special on
also-
Mineral Wells. I've opened the door.
You have.
Hit
Way
the
to go, babe.
hotel.
That's
Good job.
4 major paranormal locations in
Good
one
job.
relatively small mid.
I wish you could still
West
go there to
Texas
see
town.
the stuff. The pictures are really cool, but it would be really cool to go back there once it's renovated.
We still need to go to Jefferson. We haven't been
do.
there yet.
We do.
But you can go to
Because everything's haunted.
to the
in Jefferson.
hospital at Fort Walters and stuff, that because it's closed. That you can go there. You can also tour the Nazareth. I believe they
You
still
can?
do ghost tours at the Nazareth Hospital.
Oh, they do?
And you can definitely stay the night in Haunted Hill House.
Yeah, for $550.
It
I
ain't.
did look
Yeah,
at
it's
that.
more expensive than the one in.
The one we went to.
Yeah.
Mineral Wells is. I say it's West Texas. That's not fair. It's like due west of Dallas and not by far.
It's 50 miles west of Fort Worth. Yeah.
Yes, so it's not really West Texas. I was being a little.
Well, to me, 50 miles west of Fort Worth.
That's West
That's West
Texas.
That's West Texas.
I know, but it's not like love
Because
it.
West Texas goes from everything from the other side of Dallas.
Yeah.
Right.
Irving,
Mexico.
Irving is the dividing line.
True.
Yeah,
True.
west of
Absolutely.
west of Irving,
West of Irving.
west of DFW Airport is West Texas.
You get Arlington,
East is East
Irving,
Texas.
Grand
I mean,
Prairie, Duncanville,
in
all that
fairness,
line. To the west of that is West
for
Texas.
those that aren't from here, though, Mineral Wells is like the beginning of the tumbleweed. Like that's where there's
Oh
nothing.
yeah, it's not like
It's
Pecos
not.
or
It's not Odessa,
no,
Midland, but
no,
it's
Midland or
but it's the beginning. Like there's not
And
a
for
whole lot.
those
It's
that-
flat.
You know, a lot of people, they have this idea of
That's exactly what Texas looks like
that
everywhere.
That's what Texas looks like.
That's
And-
not.
East Texas is deep south.
Yeah, East
Pine
Texas,
trees.
though,
It's pine
is
trees
tall
and
pine
swamps.
trees and,
Well, as we said
pine
before,
forest.
you want forests, we got it. You want hills, we've got it.
Yeah,
you want
I mean, we
beaches,
got it all.
we've got it. You want lakes, we
You
got it. We
want
got
swamps.
deserts, we got swamps.
We got
have
swamps.
We got 800 miles of coastline.
we've got national forests.
We got it all.
We've got panhandle with snow every year. We've
Mm-hmm.
got it all. So I think this would be fun to visit. I think it would be a cool town to look at anyway.
Yeah, because you've got multiple locations that.
Fun to stay there when it opens up.
I would like to see if it's because the Crescent's been renovated how many times and it's still haunted. I'd like to see if the things that are reported are still there once all the
Well, that
renovations go
stirs
down.
it up.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's stirring
Or
the
like homie
paranormal
said,
pot right there.
they're just happy I'm here. I don't experience anything because they're happy I'm fixing up their house.
See, and it's
kinda doubt that,
At the
honestly.
hospital there and the Army hospital there, it's a very these are dark, negative, and at Hill House too apparently. There was a Jack Osborne and his thing went there for portals to hell.
Well, I know that they are concerned because there's just not a whole lot of traffic through Mineral Wells.
Yeah, that's the one thing.
So-
What's going to drive
They're
the-
going to have to advertise it and really make it the haunted hotel. Because, I mean,
Here's
it
what I think.
makes lists about how haunted it is. Like,
I
it's
think
on
that
lists.
if they really double down on the event centers that they're talking about being inside there, like for concerts, kind of like the Horseshoe over in Shreveport does.
That's a casino. But
Yeah, at the casinos, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't have in Texas. You can't have gambling.
I'm not talking about gambling. I'm talking about concerts. There's constantly concerts at the Horseshoe in Shreveport.
Yeah, but that's right in the middle of Shreveport.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if you have a venue
I was thinking-
available for somebody to play in West Texas, I mean,
think you just use the town, gentrify it in some way, like with all these other places. And I mean, why can't you just make it like a haunted place, like what Jefferson does?
here's what you do.
They could make it
I got
just
it.
like Green
Hall?
Yeah, there's nothing there except Green Hall or Green
I'll tell you,
Hall.
here's-
There's nothing there, right?
Here's what you do,
But
okay?
it's famous venue.
You get
This is the oldest dance hall in Texas.
You get an attractive woman, you get an attractive man, okay? You get them to hook up, marry, and start their own house flipping, home improvement type show.
Oh, quit.
No, I'm serious. You do that, and you base them in mineral wells, and then watch how it blows up.
I don't know. I've been through there. It's.
Are you talking about mineral wells?
Yeah,
I'm talking about Waco.
He's talking about doing a Waco 2.0.
Yeah, because that's what happened with, what's her name?
Yeah, I know. The house flippers.
Yeah, what's her name?
The Branch Davidians?
No, silly
the
goose.
Gaineses.
Huh?
The Gaines.
Chip and Joanna Gaines. When they
Magnolia Farms.
Magnolia Farms and all
I
that.
know is Property Brothers. The
No.
brothers. I don't
Chip
know.
and Joanna Gaines had this house flipping show, Fixer Upper thing. And, dude, Waco, since they started their show, has blown up around that show.
Actually, you know what blew up Waco? Was the ATF.
Oh, and here we are.
Let's just get all political and that. Why not? What the hell?
Well, they're from there, and they bought
God
the
damn it,
silos,
John.
and they made
Let
it
it
a
go.
really cool thing. I see what you're saying. I think that, I mean, they obviously must have a plan. If nothing else, advertising. I mean, make it the haunted house thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the hotel, and you want to talk about the Nazareth, like do something with that.
Mm-hmm.
But that talks some money too. There's not a whole lot of money here. That's the problem. The economy there is not booming.
Right.
It's not close enough to DFW to be booming, at least from what I can tell.
Well, it doesn't come from the money that it's like during the episode where they were doing the Nazareth, they ran into an oil worker out on the highway who was telling them about stuff that happened there, and that's where the money's coming from, the patch.
Right. Well, of course.
So
that's all of that out there.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
either way,
So do
I'd
we
like
go?
to go see it. I'd
We
like
try
to
to go
see
to
it.
Baker?
Absolutely. Well, we've been
Okay.
to a lot of the other ones that we talked about. This is one that would be really cool, I think, once it's redone.
So what do we think about Pete's sake?
On a beer budget, it's a good peated Scotch.
it's no 16-year-old Lagavulin, but it's good
It's not bad.
for $21. I mean, it's better.
Exactly.
Than Johnny Walker.
That's what I'm
Red.
saying.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
is
like
good.
it.
That is good Scotch.
I
for
would
20
recommend
bucks.
it to somebody that hasn't ever tried peated Scotch and wants to try
absolutely.
it. Try this first. Also, because it's, like you said, not a Scottish hug. It doesn't feel... For those that don't necessarily like to drink straight liquor sometimes, but you want to know if you like something, that's a good one to start.
Yeah, and you could put some ice in here or water in it without committing sacrilege like you would if you were to put ice or water in.
Yeah, and so here's the thing: if you drink this and you like it, then I believe that you will absolutely love the Lagavulin.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind,
You could
that's
use
the way
this
it
for
works.
like Scotch. I don't know what kind of
there a
cocktails
Scotch
people make it. No, there are. I mean, I just can't recall what they're called right now.
I can't either.
A sidecar? I don't freaking know. But if you want a peaty cocktail, that'd be a good one, right?
I will say,
It'd be a good mixer for that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to see. There's one
Is it a
called an
Manhattan?
uppercut.
Is it a Manhattan? A Tom Collins? I don't know.
I don't think Manhattan has a
I don't
peated
drink.
Scotch. Manhattan. Oh yeah, you can make it with Scotch.
Yeah.
Rye whiskey,
Yeah.
sweet vermouth, and bitters, but you can make it with Scotch if you would prefer. What was I going to say? Oh, give yourself a chance though on peated Scotch.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like if you taste the first time and you're like, give it a little bit. We
Yeah,
did.
you gotta-
We felt the
Yeah.
same way. We gave it a bottle, and by the end of the bottle, it was like, oh, I
It's like,
like
we
this.
really liked it,
and then you go to it. So just give it a chance.
Absolutely. All right.
Okie dokie. Good night, y'all.
Have a good one.
All right. There's another Windows update. Son of a bitch for this.
What?
Another Windows update.
Oh.
It said estimated 6 minutes, so we're just gonna give it. Son of a bitch.
You don't have anything to compare it